Before we talk about DeMoN's career, let's talk about yours. Do you want to kickstart your pro gaming journey? Esports gives you the perfect opportunity to showcase your skills. A new SEA Dota 2 tournament with $4,000 prize pool is on the horizon. Register now for free using the link in the description.
You know, at the time, knowing like we were like one of the best teams in the world was like a very I was like, how many times have we beaten MVP? It's not that they're a bad team, we're just that much better.
Your time making winners, you are gone! The Filipinos have eliminated RG!
He returned to SEA to play for Team Admiral and things went south. This is part 2 where DeMoN talks about what went down in Team Admiral. If you want to watch the first half where we talk about his early career, click the link in the description below.
So I guess in the Philippines, I think the culture is very different in terms of like respect. And when I talk about like respect, it's like if that person is paying you money or he has more, it's about money. And I think if the degree and the tier levels of like the kind of like who you are, and if you're kind of like the big boss, if you're the one that's paying the salary and have the most money or whatever it is, I don't know how that really works, but I just know it's like a respect thing when it comes to like managers and so forth. And you know, I've had former managers in my experience. I've had great managers who've you know, that's able to like get you food, get you water, you know, help with like laundry. And you know, like laundry is as simple as like, because it's already thrown in a bag to take it to the department, and then they kind of like bag it up and kind of give it back to you. That's how they do it in C, which is I always thought it was like pretty awesome, amazing. That's simple as that. And when my manager at the time, he was very lazy. You know, he'd always be like, for myself, like he'd always be gaming. You know, he'd never help players, talk to players about like getting up, being on time, like helping with like, it was very inconsistent with scheduling because he'd be gaming all night and he'd be sleeping in even before some of our practice games. And you know, there was a lot of unprofessionalism that happened there, you know, from even my managers using, you know, the first couple times it was kind of like whatever for me. But after I gave them multiple warnings, like to not use my keyboard, to not use my gear, because they would be eating chips or eating whatever they're eating, and my whole setup would be all greasy. And it's just like, this is kind of like, these are all little things that kept building up for myself. And like, and I told them multiple times, it was like, no, I'll clean it. I was like, no, that's not the point, because we would also play we played a match, because you know, when I wake up, I didn't think anyone touched my stuff anymore, because it's like, oh, okay, my setup was changed, my settings were changed. We played an official match, and you know, I misclicked something, and I realized like, what the fuck, like this never happens. Like, you know, a misclick does happen, but like it was like I felt like something happened, something was different, and I checked my hotkeys and my mouse settings was completely different, and I'm like, this is like this is what I'm living with. This is so ridiculous. After multiple warnings, you know, this would still happen. It's like unbelievable. And the thing is, it's like after they would play it on other players. And, you know, after multiple warnings, they stopped doing it on mine, and they would do it on other players. And then they had the same situation too, where their settings would be changed, and like, hold on, I need to pause. Something happened. And, oh, don't worry about it. It's because none of these players would be able to stand up to their managers. And me being a foreigner, they're like, oh, it's so disrespectful. I was like, no, this is not professional at all. Like, I was like, for me as a foreigner, I respect this culture and I understand, but this is my work. This is my work desk. This is not nothing within the companies, right? And similar to them, this is like their gear, and it's just like it's super unprofessional. And these are things that like we're constantly building up in tension. I would be the one, because none of the players at the time would ever want to say anything, because they're like, no, like we're scared. We don't want to say anything back because it's like it's very disrespectful. And I said it's like I was like, you have to understand, they're disrespecting us by I'm telling them to not touch my stuff, and they're still doing the same thing. So like, this is why, like, I think me and the manager, it was like a lot of built up tension that we had. And for me, it's like, I would ask my manager, hey, can you wake up my players? Hey, like, you know, Gabby's still sleeping, he played late last, you know, it is partially like Gabby's, like, whatever, it wasn't, I'm not gonna just name every player, but like some of these players would be sleeping in, like, hey, like, can you wake them up? And it's like, no, it's and they felt like it was a chore that I told them to do this, because it's like they should know their own responsibilities. Like we have a match right now, and I'm setting up, and I'm prepping. You know, I'm prepping for our games here. And it's literally just one stair up. Go upstairs and just like wake him up. Can you get him on time? Whether it was a practice or an official. And every time I told him this, it felt like it was a chore for him. So these are like I said, these are all things that are like constantly building up now. And you know, we played I think for like 10-12 hours straight one of the days, and I think it was like around like 1 a.m. or something, and I think this was kind of like the last straw, where I told he wasn't really our manager, he's more of the owner of the team, which acted somewhat of a manager as well, because there was things that he kind of did do. But you know, he was the only one that was there. He was sitting right behind me, and I kind of told him like, he's like he's like I call him the main manager, if anything. And I turned around and I asked him, hey, like, I was respectful. I wasn't rude. I was like, hey, do you think you can grab me water, please? You know, he made this very sarcastic remark. He was like, oh, okay, sure, Jimmy. Like, I'll get you your water. And then the rest of the team kind of looked at me, and I realized, like, it's like I did something wrong. And I was like, what? Like, this is like, you know, we've been playing. It's like 1 a.m. and we're in the middle of a draft, you know, and because the games were just like rushed, because I think a lot of things like kind of happened. Like there was a lot of delays in the game, and the tournament organizers wanted to kind of rush it, so we just kept playing and playing and playing. And he brings up my water, he kind of drops it, and like, you know, whatever, so it was all fine. And I think everything would have changed. None of this drama would have happened if we won the series. So we got down to a game 5, we ended up losing. He kind of just disappeared, and then next morning I wake up to like a Facebook message with like a threat, you know, saying like, you know, if I ever hear you asking me for water again, I'm the one paying your salary, like I'm gonna slam you with the fucking chair. If you ever ask, you know, Peng, or I forgot the other guy's name, if you tell these guys to ever do your laundry or any of that again, you know, he just wrote this like explosive message towards me, and it was just like super angry. And this guy has 0 games of Dota. He's never touched and played Dota at all. And he would always, both of my managers would always critique my draft. They would critique my draft, our play, what we did wrong. One of the other guys, he played Dota, but his MMR was like probably like 2,000 or something. And everything that I did, every single loss, they're like, you guys are trash. Like the emphasis on it is like, these plays are trash. Like, you guys are like so toxic, you're bad. Like, it was like all these things, and I was like, what kind of environment am I working with? Like, these are scrim. Like, even when we play scrims, like our managers were just flame like living crap out of us, and it's like, wow, like this is unbelievable, like absurd. Like, what am I getting myself into? I think on the last day, I was at the gym. They went through my PC, and they read my Steam logs, you know, and read my chat. I don't know what else they read, honestly. At the time, March was playing for like a Chinese team, and he was kind of inviting me to like play, and if I wanted to invite one of my members to play with them, because they were kind of like falling apart, kind of joking around with them about like offers and everything. But in the end, I told them, no, I'm just kind of kidding. Like, and I think they kind of read what they did, but they didn't really read the end, blew it out of proportion. And they're like, you know, you're backstabbing like everything just went completely downhill, like saying like, you know, Jimmy's a traitor, like he's a backstabber. How are you negotiating with other teams when you're contracted with us? I never signed that contract, by the way, because it was like a pretty bullshit contract. And I told them to rephrase certain things, and they kept saying they would, and they never did. This is like the professionalism that it was, right? And, you know, I was at the gym, and I get this super long message from my manager on Facebook saying like, basically get the fuck out of the house. When I come back, I better not see you there. You know, everyone's like so mad at you right now. No one wants to talk, you know, just get the fuck out of our house. And it was like, it felt more of a threat than anything. And I was like scared for my life. You know, obviously the thing is like, what scared me the most is like, they wanted me to get out in a foreign country without even getting how am I going to get home? Where am I going to stay? You know, I was kind of like a rookie because I've always had like managers or organizations that always booked and took care of my hotels and so forth, right? Now, flights kind of easy, but they're like, you know, to get the hell out of my house, I have no time to prep. My internet wasn't good enough to like search for anything, and I was like, I was just scared. So I get back, I packed, and like in the end, I had a little bit of help from, at the time my girlfriend's family's friends out there were helping me out, and I got a nice hotel to stay at that they booked me, and he ordered me like an Uber and everything, and kind of they helped me out through this process. And yeah, and after that I had a long talk, and I explained like how they blew everything out of proportion, and like it's, you're going through personal things now, like wow, like this is, how much more personal does it get? Like this is I was angered, I was so frustrated, I don't know, like, and at the same time it's like, yeah, but they are kind of right, but at the same time this conversation should have never existed. Second of all, if you read the whole like I wasn't even serious, because I told them at the end of the day I was committed to Admiral and I wanted to play until TI, and it's their fault at the end of the day, and they caused unnecessary drama, and all this thing kind of blew out of proportion. And because of that, I think I was very traumatized from the Philippines itself, and working with like I think anything Filipino related for like a while, and like it just kind of sucked, because I know how caring, considerate, and loving like the whole community is, but this venture that I had just kind of like, I just had a strong stigma against it for such a long time. And I think I've finally recovered from it, because it's like anything related, I always had like a little flashback PTSD on it and what could have happened. And I was just like, I've never been scared for my life, and that was just one of the moments that kind of happened for me.
On 1st June, the legend announced his retirement, bringing an end to a storied, memed and decorated career. DeMoN's history is rich, with varied teams and teammates and several memorable moments. He will be dearly remembered for his time with MIM amongst the oldcomers and his time with TNC amongst the newcomers.
I'm pushing 30 in a couple months, and I need to find and do something that's much more sustainable for my future, my career, that's going to be helping me more so long term. I had a pretty a little above average career in my Dota days. I've had a lot of high points, but when I say like above average, it's just like I think I had more success than a lot of other people. I kind of came in at the wrong timing. Mentally, I wasn't mature enough to get to where I wanted to be. Obviously, I wanted to win a TI, and I'm not even a player, so that's like that dream. For those limited amount of fans out there, for the fans that I still do have, I think I appreciate each and every one of you. I think I probably get an email or tweet, direct message from like any of my social media platforms every now and then, saying like some nice things, and I read most of them as much as I can, and I do appreciate each and every one that's still out there trying to support me and have been a fan and supporting me for the past like decade or so. And I have nothing but love for each and every one of you guys.
Well, that was it from our side today. If there's any other Dota personality that you would like us to cover in our videos, let us know in the comments below. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more quality Dota 2 content. Thanks for watching. It's now time for us to go AFK.